Now, I can't promise you the lowest rate. Nobody can. In fact, that person you're talking to cannot either. If you're out there shopping for a mortgage and interest rates, whether you're buying a house or refinancing, I'm going to kind of bring you behind the curtain to share some sage advice for you to help you get the best rate. But if you continue to shop yourself in circles, you may cause yourself a hemorrhage because it's just not possible, folks. Find a good quality lender that is going to take care of you, and likely you'll end up with a good competitive rate, good competitive closing cost. What is the advice that I want to talk about with respect to rate shopping? An important thing that I've seen depending on whether you're buying or refinancing. Typically when you're buying, it can become more time sensitive because you're under contract, so you're looking to make decisions. But when you're refinancing, maybe it's not the top priority. Maybe you talk to lender A Wednesday of this week, and then you get back around to it. And then you talk to lender B on Tuesday the following week, and maybe lender C on Friday, because now you're going to look to make decisions. Well, a lot of time has elapsed since you first talked to that very first lender. And what matters is timing. So realistically, you're not really even comparing apples to apples. So to say lender A has the better rate or lender C has the better rate in closing costs, you're actually not correct, because your time apart from when those rate quotes were sent to you with closing cost has resulted in a lot of change in the financial markets. Therefore, it could be that lender C appears better or lender A, and it could just simply be timing of the market. So when you're looking at getting those quotes so that you can make the decision, first and foremost, I would just say you want to make sure you trust who you're talking to, that they get into understanding what you're really after. That matters with any service that we have in life, whether it's an accountant, an attorney, your doctor, that matters most. But of course, when it's rate and fees related to such a big transaction such as refinancing or buying a house, this does matter. But what does matter is the timing by when you get those rates and fees. So if you get them in a short window of time, you might have a good insight as to which one is more competitive. Now, bear in mind though, there are sections of the fees, and I do have a video where I explain the loan estimate in detail so you can understand it, because there are fees that lenders control: underwriting, processing, the cost of the appraisal, the cost of the credit report, the rates, so that buying down the rate may or may not be cheaper with lender A versus lender C. That gets into a whole different category. It could be related to, is it a retail bank? Is it a mortgage bank? Is it a mortgage broker? There's different reasons. They all are advantageous for you depending on what your needs are and what type of advice you're looking for. They all can be great. As it relates to things that are beyond their control, your setup of your new escrow account, the title company fees, these are things that they don't control. They should know whether it's title or attorney. They should have a pretty good gauge on what those costs are going to be for you. But remember, they don't control those costs. So as I tell clients, realistically, when you look at an itemization or a loan estimate of everything on there, the lender might control 30% of the total costs related to that rate lock you're doing. So back to rate shopping, biggest thing for you is going to be timing. All other things aside, if rates and fees are competitive, go with the person you trust the most, because they might even tell you, if it's a refinance situation, it doesn't make sense, or if you have questions after closing, will that person be there for you? Or will you have experienced what I call the sales call, which is after they work with you, you never hear from them again. And if you have questions, they never respond to you again, because there are takers out there and that's what they will do. But make sure you get the right people so that you have the right financing for your house. Make sure to comment below if you want to challenge my thinking. All for that, put it in the comments. Subscribe to information like this about authentic, transparent wealth building through real estate. We'll catch up with you soon.